Everyone, welcome to my kitchen. This is Kimberly Knox. You're in KK's Fit Kitchen. We're going to do a demo today. So I'm an integrative health coach. I'm also the creator of the bioenergetic cooking method, just a method of cooking for a lifetime of vitality. And finally got this book out, author of Simple Cooking for Vitality. So really easy. It's a lot of passion to just encourage and inspire people to get back into the kitchen and make simple, nourishing foods for you and your family with really simple ingredients, and then save your money to go out occasionally to good restaurants that really have the intention of creating health in your body and so we are going to be doing sprouted mung beans with stewed tomatoes. It is part of my liver section of the book. It is derived from the basic 12 meridians from the lowest energy point, the colon, up to the highest, which is the spleen. Then it has some treats and yummy stuff in the back, of course, because we all need that. So mung beans, they're actually cooling to the liver. And so many people have stagnant liver. If you have fatty liver or stagnant liver, reach out to me, because for myself, even I've mastered liver health, and it's a big focus of mine with my clients because it'll change everything in your body. So not only that, but so mung beans, do not worry if you've got legume sensitivities. There are certain, this one is very low in the anti-nutrients that could cause gastrointestinal type of disruption. And it is sprouted. I'll show you some other sprouted things too. Sprouted quinoa. I only do sprouted grains. And I do like the brand TruRoots, so sprouted quinoa. Now, the mung beans are going to have a little bit more protein than the quinoa. They're going to have a little less protein than the green lentils. So I use this brand, TruRoots organic sprouted mung beans. Took me a little while to make mung beans. They were new to me, but I just love them the way I did it in this recipe with the stewed tomatoes. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So farmers, we know that is the same brand that I get the oats, the certified gluten-free oats. And these are organic sprouted lentils, green lentils. And I'm showing you here, I'm actually about to sprout some black lentils. Black lentils sprout so quickly, and they're super cute. You just soak them. The directions on how to do that is actually in the book, and there is a sprouted lentil vegetable soup that's rocking. So what happens when you sprout? Just like you know, the microgreens contain so much energy for sprouting. They contain the most amount of nutrients that your body recognizes immediately. So sprouted black lentils, they perfect their protein profile. They're easier to digest. That's why it's in that recipe is in the small intestine section. All right, very cool. What else are we putting in there? We're going to soup up the mung beans using a good broth. We're going to use some celery here, sweet onion. I'm going to show you how to take the skins off tomatoes to reduce the lectin, where the lectins are in the skins. And this also is a way to make your stewed tomatoes. So we're going to do that. We already have the water boiling. We've got fresh parsley here, fresh garlic. And let me just show you an alternative. If you don't want to stew your own tomatoes and you want to make this recipe quick, I love Jovial brand from Italy, and there's some other Italian brands in jars. Excellent. All right, so the quality of this is great. And if you look at the sodium content, 15 milligrams instead of like 300 or 400 that you get in a lot of other. Make sure you're looking at the sodium. We get so much salt that we don't need. You can add it in. You can't take it out. Okay, what else are we going to put into the water? I'm going to add some Pacific kombu into, this is a seaweed. It adds a natural iodine to the mung bean. You can take it out, throw it out if you don't like the way it looks, or eat it if you're familiar with it. All right, so I'm going to get on my apron, get things set up, and then we will be back and get rocking. Hey guys, welcome back. So the water is boiling. So what we do with the tomatoes, here's some beautiful organic vine ripened tomatoes. You definitely need organic tomatoes. They are super dirty, meaning lots of contaminants in the commercial space for tomatoes. And so we're gonna let them boil until they start to crackle and the skin, and then we're gonna put them into a bath of ice. I like to put the ice right here in my my Le Creuset, my Dutch oven, and then we go through them that way. Let's get the mung beans going. We're just gonna do half. It's a 3-to-1 combination of broth to mung beans. So we're gonna bring this to a boil. And hold on 1 second. Let me just grab what I need here. Okay, so we're going to use a cup of half of, so I like this plant strong broth. They also have a little bit spicy one. They have a mushroom one, but very clean, 100% plant-based, no added stuff. And make sure you're always looking at the ingredients and broths. They need to be organic and clean and MSG free. Whoopsie. These are a little tricky here. So we need a cup and a half. I'm going to get this into the pan over here on the stove since we're using that one. And what else do I add is I'm going to put the garlic right in here. I'm going to put in some nice cloves. As much as you like. I think the recipe calls for at least 4. And what else we're going to do now is, for me, for my health, the recipe doesn't call for this, but often when I'm making quinoa, rice or other things, I'll add some of kombu. So it's going to give it some natural iodine, right? And there's only one thing in your body that needs iodine, that's your thyroid. It's a good way to get that in there. So we're going to infuse that. All right, those are cooking. Let's get this broth out of the way, clean up. You see the board behind me. Not only do you want to have a big hanging, beautiful wood board that gives you lots of space to do your chopping real nice and it's gentle and perfect for your knives, but you need a wet board. I have 2 different sizes. When you rinse things off and they're wet, you don't put them on your wooden board. So what we're gonna prep up is a couple stalks of celery. I started my celery protocol. I do celery juice most of the day for at least 1 day a week. So I like a lot of celery in this. We're also going to put a bay leaf in the soup. I just love the way bay leaves really add to the value. I have to keep looking down here as I get closer to my fingers. So you don't have to be a genius when it comes to using a knife. Like I said, no one's judging you at home. It does not matter. Just protect your fingers. And make sure your knives are sharp and try to use the right knife for the job. And invest in knives. It's like you invest in beautiful handbags or shoes. Okay. We're going to also be using fresh basil. I don't even think the recipe has it. It has, it just has some parsley. And like I said, make sure you're putting your parsley and your cilantro in a jar in the refrigerator. Keeps it nice and fresh. You can see it. You'll use it. Doesn't get all sticky, stagnant, right? Here we go. Let's get this peeled off. We're just going to chop up some onion as well. We'll save the rest because we'll be using this. Have your little baggies ready. We'll use this another time real soon. So get that into the refrigerator. That aside. So you can chop it or you can slice it. So I usually just make some cuts into the onion and then cut it up. And then I'll use, if I want it chopped up even further, then I'll use my chef's knife. Okay. This lets you just control everything without onions flying everywhere, like in the movie with Julia Child. Julia, the movie Julia, when she's there chopping up the onions, trying to go as fast as possible. You don't have to do that. Don't make a mess. Just get the feel going, because then you have to clean up the floor and everything else. But do get yourself a board scraper, because this helps you, because you don't want to use the edge of the knife. That's why you have your sharpener there. All right, so we've got, see how nicely this cleaned up? Super easy. Everything is clean and tidy. We are waiting for these to crack. And then we're going to give them an ice bath. So we will be back then. I'm going to tidy up for us. Okay, so we have our ice bath here waiting for the tomatoes to be properly, all the skin starts to peel off, but we're going to add the mung beans into the broth here. And we're going to reduce the heat down to simmer. Give them a stir and cover them up and let them do their job. And tomatoes are almost done, so we'll be back to get those skins. Okay, let's get out these tomatoes. You see the skin is all peeling and cracking, so we're going to put it into the cold water so we can use our hands and just get the skin off and get out some of the seeds. So I found that this slotted strainer thingy is really good for that. So if you let them sit in there, see how this comes off super easy. Some of my ice melted down because I didn't have quite a bit enough. So the other cool thing is I filter all the water in my home. So when you do that, all of the water that you use everywhere is always filtered. So you're not adding in more chemicals from a city water into your food that you are preparing or to your, your organic stuff. See how nice and easy these come off? Super. So now you're left with just skinned tomatoes. And I just poke them open a bit, get out some of the seeds. Ooh, they're gonna be hot. And all right, so now I'm gonna use this again. I'm gonna put them in the bowl. And then when the mung beans, I'm actually gonna take out the stem. It's a little hard. And then we're gonna add these to the mung beans. Now, if you do a lot of stewed tomatoes, you can just do a bunch of them. The recipe is also in the book in section 3. You can freeze them in a big jar. I'll just show you. I still have some in here. This is frozen. So it can be a base for a sauce or used in another way. Okay, so what I'm going to also do is I'm going to let these cool for a bit. And then I'm just going to take out the top stem part of it so they're not so hard. And we've got everything else pretty much prepped, except for I'm just going to chop up, once I get this out of the way, the herbs. Okay, so the mung beans only have to cook for about 5 minutes and then you take them off. But we're going to be adding more stuff in like a soup. So here, this is a tomato knife, by the way. You normally will get this with most of your knife sets. So the top, I'm just kind of cutting out the hard part of the stem, and it's pretty easy. So you just kind of slice down in there. Okay. So I've done a few of them and did the rest. You can just cut them up just a little bit. But they're going to kind of stew up in the soup, so you're fine. Let's get a little bit of the parsley. How nice it is to have your little knives, a little fresh parsley. So we'll add some to the soup and then we'll add some more fresh toward the end. So really just want to get off the big stem parts. And I generally just use a chef knife just to go through them. Rough chop is fine. They don't have to be super small. I just don't want big pieces so they look like weeds. Okay, beautiful. Super easy, super simple. Sharp knife does all the work for you. Same thing with the basil. And like before, I just kind of roll it and then just kind of chop through it. I'm going to save some fresh for the top, and I am going to add some to the mix. Beautiful. So we have all of our herbs done. We're going to get the tomatoes into the mix here. right? So we've got more juice. Now we're gonna add the onions and the celery. I had some little green onions, so I just decided to put them in there. There's the celery. I put the bay leaf already in there. So I'm going to add a little bit more broth to it because the mung beans have absorbed some. So you're probably going to want to add about another half cup to a cup, however thick or soupy that you want it. Okay, so we'll be back. We'll let that cook up and the soup is going to be done. It's really fun and easy. So look how chunky and amazing this looks. So we're just going to cook it down until the onions and the celery have softened and fragrant. It's already smelling really good. We did not add any salt. And I do like this one here. So let me get a bunch of salt in there. Now you can do it to your liking. I kind of like a little less salt. I'm used to it. I don't have any fresh thyme, so this organic, simply organic thyme will be great. I'm gonna add some of that to it as well. I'm gonna wait a little while to put in the basil. We're gonna let that simmer for a little bit and we'll be right back. Looking good, it's smelling amazing. So we're gonna get some of the parsley. I want to save some to top it with too. I like some of it raw, and the basil. I did put a little dried basil in there as well. And then you can salt it to your needs. We're going to do another 5 minutes, probably a total of 15 minutes to get everything soft. And then it's ready. And you can actually freeze this so you have some chill. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say. So we're filming this during spleen season. And I've been talking about the spleen. So here we are, we're still in summer, but this is the time of the year that you get that last birth of growth before you're fully ripened and bringing stuff to market kind of thing in the fall. That's the energy. So that's why we're more in an earth orientation when we talk about the spleen and foods and the warming. So that is the nourishment part that we're looking at here. And this soup definitely qualifies. Okay, let's wrap this up. Thanks for joining me today. If it's the first time on the channel, if you haven't already subscribed, you can get notifications when I have a new video out. This is the sheet of kombu. So I actually eat it. Let it cool. Throw it away if you don't like it. But it's added some really nice iodine in there. So I'm just going to add in the fresh herbs now. More of them. And I'm starving right now. I've actually been eating some nuts. This is so filling and just delicious. Your liver, your body, your digestive system is all going to thank you. And super fresh and amazing. So if you've never tried mung beans, give this a try. Thanks for stopping by KK's Big Kitchen. And have yourself a super healthy, awesome day.